First, you need a more active interest in performance rather than looking for deviations. This is a guy who's fastening a nut on a bolt, and he's put a piece of pipe on a spanner to create a cheater bar to really get the torque going to tighten the nut. If we look at this from a safety one point of view, we're interested is this a deviation or not? Is this on the safe side or not? But if we look at this from a safety two point of view, we want to ask questions about what is helping and hindering performance here. Is this a good way of doing this job? If you engage with this guy and you ask him the traditional safety one question, it would be, have you done anything unsafe or risky today? And you probably wouldn't capture this. But if you asked him, what was frustrating today? What are the things you have to tolerate on this site? What are the solutions you have come up with to get the job done? How can I help you to make this even better? Those are the type of questions you need to ask in order to understand where these sensitivities, frustrations, even the good practices are in your system. But once you have this information, what do you do with it? Well, I suggest you this 4-level framework. First of all, you can find good practices. Second of all, you can find what people are dependent on. What do they need? What do they rely on? You can always find sensitivities, so when work is difficult, it's not necessarily where we lose control, but those are surprises in your workday, that the ground is slightly different. And you are likely to find frustrations, that people need certain things and they can't have them. And if they can't have them, there will be something going on there. So what you can do around this, the good practice, you don't stop them, keep them, increase them, spread them across your business. If you have teams, you will have variability between the teams. Make sure that you spread the good practices that are out there. If you get more of those, you're going to improve performance. Dependencies, well, if you know that people are dependent on certain things, make sure that people have them, invest in those resources. If you find sensitivities, try to support the solutions around those, or send it upstream. Send it to the planning office to accommodate for those things so people don't have to deal with it on the day. Engage planning resources if you can do that. And when it comes to frustrations where people can't have what they need, you either disrupt that practice or you improve it. You sweeten it somehow, right? So this is a very rough outline of how you can quite quickly go from your own observations of going out there, putting it onto a framework like this and making decisions. What do we do with this that we just observed? And I would suggest that instead of using the normal executive safety walk to go out and check the expiry date on the first aid kit, that you go out and you ask these type of questions and you map it onto a framework like this. In the traditional approach to safety, the leader was the one who was going out there, and he was the hero, and he was providing the answer. Here is the line in the sand, follow me and you will be safe. But what we're talking about here is that safety is such a complex issue that we need a leader that can be a host to understand that complexity, to bring all those things together. So whenever you have a safety problem, I was very encouraged by the curiosity approach there. You start asking questions. You become the host of that conversation. Who else needs to be involved here? What is it that we haven't understood about this? You open up for surprises rather than shutting down the conversation by imposing your answers. It also changes your role from being reactive to being creative. I don't think leadership is about holding people accountable to a standard that was developed for yesterday's needs. That's something else. Leadership is about leading people into a future that does not yet exist, that requires creativity rather than that sort of accountability where we're holding people back. If people can't use a particular procedure or solution, well, it's your task to unleash the creativity of your organization to find something better. That is what is needed from a safety 2 point of view. And finally, in the old way, in the safety one way, leadership was about constraining and upholding those boundaries of the system. But here it's about supporting and facilitating work and facilitating the purpose of your business. It is a different way to think about your role. Safety still starts at the top, but you go about it in a very different way. In a trusting, in a positive, learning from what goes right, spreading good practices, boosting the capacity of your system, and improving overall performance.